short training video, we're going to show how you create a triangle group manually. So let's open the database again, the Workbook 108. You could go to File and you get a listing of the most recent ones that you've had open. That's one way of finding Workbook 104A. Another way is just opening it from scratch. So you go to Open Database button, the second one from the left, open Workbook 104A, and over here you've got an option under the database, New Triangle Group. But another way of doing it is you just click with the right button on the right, and you can see there's an option. After you get your context shortcut sensitive menu, there's an option called New. Before we do that, why don't we look at C Uneven. Why don't you open C Uneven first and go to Datasets. Yeah, just open the triangle and click with the right button of your mouse and just choose Copy All. Now, what are the dimensions? The dimensions are 1986, first quarter, to 2000, it's third quarter, isn't it? Because we start off at development year 0, which is really the first, second, third quarter. You can close the triangle if you click on dimensions. It shows you that the last calendar year is the third quarter of 2000, and 86, first quarter 86. Okay, so let's close that. And now again, click with the right button of our mouse for New. Let's call it Junk. We'll call it Junk. The accident sampling period is year. The calendar sampling period is quarter. The first accident period starts in 1986, first quarter. The last calendar period is 2000, third quarter. And because you're not truncating the triangle, in other words, the first calendar period is the same as the first accident period. The first calendar period is not subsequent to the first accident period. In other words, it's not a trapezoid. You're still writing business, which means the last accident period, the last accident year, is not less than the last calendar period. In other words, you've stopped writing the business. So if you look at Show Dimensions, it looks like this. And this is exactly what you want to create. So, okay, you don't have to fill in these parameters because that would be superfluous. The total number of development period, that's if you truncate it on the right side. What we're not doing that, again, you could go to Show Dimensions. And then you could go to Variable Values, and if you wanted to assign something, maybe client name, or well, I don't know, whatever, currency and so on, but we're not going to, so we're not going to assign any variable values. And then you just click on OK. So it actually opens the triangle group. It's already in the database under Junk. Okay, but it doesn't have any triangles. It doesn't have any data sets, composite, triangles, exposure, dimensions. It has no notes, no reports. So if you go to the Triangles tab, and click with the right button of your mouse, create new triangle. Well, it is the paid losses, it is incremental. Click on OK, and then with the right button of your mouse inside, just click on Paste All. You don't have to put the cursor anywhere because you've copied all, paste all. It's identical to the other triangle that you've copied from. Okay? I mean, the system is pretty flexible. If I just wanted to copy these numbers, I just do with the right button, and I would just say copy without labels. In other words, you don't want the labels at the top, you don't want the accident year labels. You can do that also. If I highlight this whole column, another option with the right button, things you need to investigate, is sum selected cells. It gives me the sum of the cells there, 24,920. Okay, if I just highlight these three numbers, sum of selected cells. Again, with the right button of your mouse, you can save changes. Okay, you can do that, but actually it would have asked you whether you want to save when you go to close anyway. Okay, all right, so that's one of them. And now I'm going to delete chunks. I'm going to go to JUN and delete it. And now we're going to do another one. Let's go to CS5. So click on C, S5, and look at its dimensions. Well, that's very different, isn't it? It's, in fact, let's leave it open. So let's just leave it like that. Then go back and now tile vertically. Okay? And now go to the database with the right button of your mouse. Create new. Where's that? New. And let's move it a bit, that side. And let's call it CS5. Actually, there's another way of copying CS5, but we'll do it that way. The way you can copy CS5 is just expand it, add another diagonal, but in fact add 0 diagonals. It just becomes a copy of it. But let's do it this way first. CS5 replica, or copy. Now the first accident year is 1970. The last calendar year is 1987. Oops. But the first calendar period is 1981. It's a trapezoid. The last accident year is the same as the last calendar period, so there's no need to put in the last accident year. But total number of development periods, it actually goes from 0 to 12. It's been truncated on the right, so we need to put a 13 in there. Okay? 1970, 87, 81, 13. Let's show the dimensions now. They look identical. Okay? Close. I'm waiting for you. Okay. So now we have two triangle groups that are open and the database. What we'd like to do now is minimize the database and tile vertically the two triangle groups. So with the tile vertical button, instead of just clicking on it, with the downward arrow, you're going to tile vertically, either minimize other types, which means that you'll tile vertically because the triangle group is active. One of them is active. You'll tile vertically the two triangle groups, minimize other types, that's minimize the database. Or just minimize database view. Let's choose minimize database view. There they are. Now go to datasets or triangles, right? And go to triangles on this side. And instead of copying and pasting, just grab this triangle and put it on the other side, because it's the same dimensions. Do they have any exposure inflation premiums? Take the base inflation on this side and grab it and drop it to that side. Well, so it's the same data now. You can actually do the same thing with the models. If you go to data sets, well, we haven't. Let's go to data sets now. Let's grab the data sets which are associated with inflation. Let's grab these three and push them there. Well, they can't. Triangle already exists in destination. Okay, what does that mean? All right. Okay. Because this triangle already exists, okay, you can't actually copy across the data set. So what we do is when we go to data sets, you go to new and create that particular data set, PLI. and with it assign the particular inflation. So I've created a new one, PLI. This is under data sets, right? New, you click on new and select the new data set. And now highlight PLI and assign it the inflation vector, which is this one here, inflation, right? Oops. Click on name again. I've changed the order based on inflation. Select base inflation. Okay, so these two are in fact now identical. We didn't copy any models, did we? So click on PLI there. Are there any models on this side? Yeah, there are models, so you can grab good 1 and good 2, grab them both, and put it on the paid losses incremental. Okay? Alright, so we created two types of triangle groups. One that was a trapezoid, year by year. The other one had uneven sampling periods. We only sort of created one triangle by copying and pasting. Of course, you can also copy and paste from any other application like Excel, MS Access, and so on. Okay, thank you for that.